Hello, governor and governor says out there in the world. I'm I'm gonna be doing this ever so often. We have a progress review, so get used to it. I'm just kidding. Please don't cancel us, UK. We love you. We love you so much. But welcome everyone to another progressive review. Your progress wrestling review show slash team slash squad here on the BC WrestlePod Network. We do a lot of stuff here. This weekend is no exception, which I'm so excited to talk about in a little bit. But I am Mikey, also known as El Jefe, and joining me this evening is my progressive brother from another mother in the same state, but in the northern version of California instead of southern. Mr. A to Z himself, Andrew is in the house. I've missed you.
I know it's been like a whole week since I've seen you.
I know, it's been too long.
It's been a while since we've done a wrestling review.
It really has, like an actual review. I mean, we were together for Bash at the Ballpark, but that was a watch along. But yeah, it's well, I mean, it's been almost a whole entire month because last time we did a review together was for Ordinary People. So that was at the beginning of the month, and now we close out July with our final review of the month, which is Chapter 182 of Progress Wrestling, Stay Humble, which, took place Sunday, July 27th. I'm excited to talk about this because this is leading up to 100 Volts happening at the end of August, and we already got some crazy matches set up because of the show. But before we get into all of that, a bit of housekeeping, if you will. If however you found us, whether through a friend, the algorithm, or, just randomly be like, Progress Wrestling, what's this? Who are these two dudes? Well, I'm glad somehow you've managed to find us anyways. But if you would be so kind to subscribe to YouTube, follow us on Twitch and Kick. But if you cannot, sit and watch a whole entire review for an hour or sometimes two, as we found out earlier this week, we still would love for you to participate in our little community and be an active part of it. You can follow us all over the social medias on any social media site, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. We have a whole bunch of stuff at BC WrestlePod where you can read our report cards for all the pay-per-views and special events and weekly television shows, as well as keep up to date with all of our reviews, as well as previewing the weekly shows. So that way, be like, should I be tuning into television this week? And the answer to that is maybe. It depends on what's going on, because sometimes these cards be looking like, all right, well, it's because of the content that I'm watching this, but sometimes you're also very excited. Just like I was excited for Stay Humble. Last but not least, if you want to support us in a different way and you want to rep us everywhere you go, we have some merchandise available for you. Link in the chat for all the places that this is currently streaming at. We are at bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. We have review merch for all our review teams. Summer collection, Pride collection, anti-establishment collection. It is a great time. We love it. We're all about power to the peoples, especially like these people. So this is like, si se puede and all that jazz. No, but I'm excited. Alrighty, I got that out of the way. Let's get into why we're really here tonight. We are here to review, once again, Chapter 182, Stay Humble. And... oh man, at first, I had to watch it a second time because upon first watch through, because I watched it on Sunday, I was like, I like some stuff, not sure about other things. Maybe a second watch through will probably change my mind. And for the most part, on certain things, it did, especially since it's been the last couple of days we've been getting announcements for 100 Volts. I do still have one big thing that we're going to talk about towards the tail end. I'll just preview it here. I feel like the card order was a little weird. We could have placed certain things differently for it to flow, but I still enjoyed everything I saw. So yeah, let's just get into it then, because we kick Stay Humble, of course, our lovely host who is always here, Jerry. We love Jerry up in this house. We love Jerry so much. But we kick Stay Humble off with our first match. This is, of course, Tate Mayfair's taking on a returning Adam Max Ted. So, of course, Love Island UK alum Adam taking on our lovable boy Tate. I thought this was a fun match. Yeah. Here's my thing. So I'm not expecting Tate to always be like at the upper echelon fighting all the big names that Progress has right now, but like since since Fix Your Hearts when he had his student versus teacher fight against Eddie, and then he had a shot at the Progress Championship but could not get it done. I feel like Tate is kind of just floundering a little bit, if that makes any sense. I'm still here for him. I just want him to do more. But I had fun with this match, though. And it definitely, to me, it completed what needed to be done where the crowd loves Tate and they hate Adam. So, I mean, I'm cool with that. So, Andrew, what did you think of our opener for Stay Humble?
I mean, I thought this was a really good showcase for both these guys. I thought it was actually really wonderful storytelling for who each of them is. We really get the idea that Adam is the heel, Tate is getting pushed as at least a fan favorite, if not the face. Even all the way through the post-match attack, like it made sense because I like that when Adam Max had attacked Tate, he hit him once and then he left. He was like, that's, I got my revenge for you beating me. And then Tate still struggled through, got back to his feet and walked out on his own, showing how tough he is. For me, I actually really like this match. I thought it was a super strong opener. Both these guys looked really good. And I feel like with Tate, I think he's kind of in a position that you see a lot in like professional fighting, where if you fight for a title, sometimes you drop down not to second or third, but maybe like ranked fifth or sixth or something, because there's other people that are in line behind you. So you kind of have to drop behind them that haven't gotten their shot yet. And I feel like he's kind of in the position where Charlie Sterling was when he started out on his own as a singles competitor, again. And I feel like Tate is in the position where he's now working his way back up, which is nice because it's going to give him a chance to do a fresh story and kind of go after, whatever title he might be going.
I realized I was muted. Anywho.
I was gonna type in there. I was like, I can't hear you, but I don't know if I'm just glitching or what.
No. So to summarize what I was saying, now that you put it in that perspective, I think I'm more okay now with this match than I was initially, especially since Tate did have some pretty good showings earlier this year, and he's still being showcased and all that stuff. So I would like to see Adam and Tate run it back one more time. We're going to talk about Charlie because I think he had the biggest surprise for me this whole entire episode, which I was pleasantly surprised in a good way. But we move on to our second match, which was a number one contendership match for the Proteus World Championship. This has been brewing. Well, this has been brewing all year so far. It has led to this point. Simon Miller versus, our lovable twat, Charles Crowley. Oh, I love these two. Really digging deep with these Fantastic Four, pushing the metaphors. I think it's, by the way, side note, I think it's really cool that Charles Crowley got to be, the thing like suit for the movie. That was really cool. And then, of course, on his personal Instagram, he posted all the behind the scenes pictures. I'm like, I want to be Charles Crowley when I grow up, you guys. I want to be wrestling and also be walking around in a thing suit. But let's talk about this match because I actually really enjoyed it. I think Simon and Crowley have some really fun chemistry together for me. I think they play off of each other very well. This was very fun. They're just like, listen, we kind of respect each other, but I'm also going to punch you in the face kind of mentality because there is a number one contendership on the line. So there is a lot of playfulness and then a lot of, playfulness, but also getting the digs in. I thought this was fun. We didn't get a finite finish though, because we got the return of Mr. Bullet coming in, wrecking house for Simon Miller and Charles Crowley. Bullet gets on the mic and talks about he's here to remind everyone what a Proteus championship is supposed to look like. And I'm like, I smell a fatal 4-way, maybe, at 100 volts. So we'll see if my instinct is correct. But Andrew, what did we think of our Proteus World Championship #1 contenders match?
I mean, I'll kind of work my way backwards. I am not a huge fan of when they do no contest, no finish things. There were 2 in this card, and I actually had no problem with both of them because of what I was hoping would get set up, and then it looks like they're doing that. I wanted this even before the interference. I wanted Simon Miller and Charles Crowley to somehow not have a clean finish in this, so we got a triple threat for the title. And Bullet looked cool coming back. He looked super dangerous. Like, he just looked like a beast. So if this is a fatal 4-way that we get or whatever, but I just love that Simon Miller and Charles Crowley are still in this because I want this story and this feud. Both of these two, like, their characters are so great to be feuding with each other and around the Proteus title. When he can be there, Paul Walter Hauser he's another good mix in there, and I love that Bullet is just trying to be the like serious badass wrestler with these 2 and in some cases 3 ridiculous characters. But at the same time, this match was a great example of how really good Simon Miller and Charles Crowley are in the ring, and how good they are with character work, because the fact that they can do their character work while also being surprisingly really good at what they do. I love watching both these 2 wrestle each other. I want to see more of it, and I want to see them feud over the title as well. So I'm here to see more of it. I thought this was a really fun match, and I like that. I felt like this was a step up. Everything kind of going forward felt like, okay, this was another step up. Like, we're ramping up the energy of this card.
You would think I would know this by now. Anywho, I'll get this right at one point or another. I'm excited because, again, I'm also not a big fan of DQ finishes. However, because this is setting up for the historic 100 show at the Electric Ballroom at 100 volts, I'm okay with it. I'm excited. So this was a lot of fun. Of course, Simon and Crowley look at each other afterwards. It's like, well, we got a lot of artwork cut out for us, so we let's just leave. So I'm excited. Yeah.
I say make it a fatal 4-way elimination match. Get crazy with it.
Just go buck wild. Falls count anywhere. Let's go. Who knows? Crazier things have happened. But hopefully we'll see what happens as the weeks go by, and we'll see what other kinds of matches, like if we do get a fatal 4-way, because we've already have some solid matches announced for 100 volts. But we'll get to that at the end of the show when we preview what we have so far, because right now, okay, so let's get into this. So we have I love this so much. We have an Atlas World Championship tables match right now. This has been a match in the making. This is, of course, our Atlas World Champion, Axel Tischer, taking on Mike DeVecchio. Mike D. This match was wild. I was like, and when they pulled out the tables, I'm like, oh, it's not the regular tables. Oh, this is gonna hurt, and it looked like it hurt a lot. I love Axel Tischer, from his time in Imperium and NXT and all that good stuff. But I've been enjoying him and Mr. Damo over in the UK. I love it all the time. But Mike D, man, I've been becoming such a big fan of Mike D over this year since, we got to see him in Vegas and even earlier this year. This tables match was a lot of fun. That ending sequence, though, I was like, oh my God, I think Axel is dead. Like, I thought he metaphorically died. But no, we got it. Axel goes through the table, and your winner and new Atlas World Champion, Mike D. Andrew, what did we think of our tables match? This has been a while in the making, too.
I was surprised. Good on Mike D. I love that Progress didn't just abandon this match when it fell through when it was supposed to be in Vegas. To nobody's fault. There were travel issues and everything. So I'm happy that they held on to this, and I feel like it actually made it a bigger match because there was this anticipation to it. So good on him. Congrats to the new champ. I thought the match was, it was a hard hitting match. It was really good. I really liked it. But yeah, that finish was rough. I was worried that Mike D hurt his leg, that Axel, I hope he's okay because that first table broke because when Mike D slipped, he didn't go as far as he was supposed to. So that first table broke, but the second one just hit the back of his head, and then he was laying there the rest of the time. So I just hope that they're both all good because I want to see more from both of them, and I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with Mike D as the Atlas champion.
I really do. And again, Mike D is new. Well, I can't. Mike D is newer to us, but I've become such a big fan because I feel that there is something about not even just UK, European power wrestlers that just literally are built different, so to speak. His forearm that he does when he gets a running start, I'm like, somebody's about to get decapitated, and I'm kind of here for it. Like, ooh, but I'm excited. I didn't realize that Axel held this championship for so long too. When commentary was mentioning it during the entrances, I'm like, oh my goodness, that is a very long time. And so, but I also agree that despite travel issues and it being quite some time, because this encounter was supposed to happen back in April, it is currently July. So this is 3 months in the making, but I'm so glad that they decided not to bypass this and scrap this match whatsoever. And then, of course, I really do appreciate that this was a tables match because it's going to set up for all the crazy stuff we're seeing at 100 volts when we get to a certain promo segment later in the show. But Mike DeVecchio is your new Atlas World Champion. I'm excited to see where his title reign goes and who is going to step up to face the big man, the Belgian machine, if you will, first. So that's going to be interesting. I'm not saying I need big boy versus big boy, but I would love in the future to see Mike D versus Will Cruz, especially we'll see what Will has picked up in Japan in Noah, which is crazy. So, so excited. But we move on from this. We get a little bit. I was like, an intermission. What is happening? But it's okay. There was a lot of setup for this because technically looking at the card, I was like, there's not a lot of wrestling, but that is okay. But let's get into this one. This was the biggest surprise, and Charlie Sterling at the end of this match was me as well. I was like, but like in the best way possible. I love this. So this is a simple one-on-one match. Charlie Sterling versus the Black Swan, Car Noir. Car Noir needs to go to Mexico because I think he would be the biggest pop for any Exotico in any promotion. I love Car Noir's aesthetic. I was like, he's a theater kid turned wrestler, and I'm here for it. But this was just a simple singles match. We continue to see Charlie Sterling make a name for himself as a singles wrestler. I think in-ring wise, this was probably my favorite, like in-ring wise, like the actual wrestling portion of it. My actual favorite match would come later, but like overall picture, but just looking at from a technical wrestling standpoint, I think this was probably my favorite match because again, Car Noir definitely at the top of your roster for Progress Wrestling, but Charlie Sterling over here too. I forget for how long he's been in Progress too. He may now just be a singles competitor, but he's been here for quite some time too, from my research as well. So I was excited to see this match. Last time we saw both of these men, Car Noir could not capture the championship from Luke Jacobs at Far From Ordinary People, and Charlie Sterling was killing it in Super Strong Style 16-2, where he made it very, very far in that tournament. This was a really fun back and forth. The counters were great. The British catch style of wrestling was there, and pleasantly surprised. Like I said, Charlie Sterling picks up a win over Car Noir. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, even commentary was too stunned to speak. And even the audience's faces, I was like, I even caught Jerry like, oh my gosh. So, Andrew, what did you think of this matchup between these two?
I feel like they definitely set us up to think that Car Noir was going to win this. We kind of expected because of the position that he holds. Um, and they talked about his losing streak coming into this. So it kind of felt like, okay, well, he'll pick up the win here to break that losing streak. Um, but I was shocked by the outcome. Oh, there we go.
I haven't. Yeah.
Lost consciousness there for a second.
We were all in a state of shock. That was literally me.
But Charlie Sterling has looked great. Yeah. Charlie Sterling has looked great since moving into singles competition. I like what they're doing with him, especially because he is a heel. I feel like they're pushing him the right way. And so I'm interested to see where he goes, but I'm more interested to see what this losing streak is going to do to Car Noir. Are we going to get some kind of heel turn? Are we going to get a darker Car Noir? But I think that's what they're building to, something from this, because I think Car Noir is now 0-4 since returning, or maybe he's 1-4 because I think he won one match. But since returning, he's now on I think a 4-match losing streak. So I think something's coming from this, and I'm really excited to see where it goes, because I think that's going to be a really exciting story to tell with him.
I think so too. And again, here's the thing, and we've seen it in other promotions that we watch and just the history of wrestling too. Usually your big baby face, when they continue on a losing streak, obviously they're going to go down a darker path. That's the storytelling trope that most heroes in literature and other mediums tend to go down to. What I'm interested to see is which of those two divergent paths that Car Noir goes on. Do we see him go into a downward spiral, but then become the underdog once again and then fight his way up? Or do we see him spiral down, but then he becomes the villain of the story and starts going after it? Because I'm here for either or, honestly. Especially because the last time Car Noir was in this position where he was the underdog was when he was in that amazing feud with Spike Trivet not too long ago in Progress too. Because those two had a crazy feud. I actually found time to watch all their matches. It was nuts. It was so good. But I'm excited to see where Car goes. And I'm excited to see where Charlie goes too, because beating Car Noir has to set something up in some capacity. Whether it's for the Progress Championship, Proteus, Atlas, listen, Charlie versus Mike D would be nuts. I'm not even going front. But I'm excited to see where both of them go. So this, for in-ring wise, was so much fun. The result was shocking, but in a very good way. So this was a lot of fun for sure. But we got to move on, though. So, so this one was a little bit of a short match. We were supposed to get Session Moth versus Lana Austin, but Lana, of course, gets on the mic beforehand. It's like, yeah, I kind of hurt myself. Yeah, so I was like, girl, bye. I was like, oh, heck no, but I'm here for this. So, of course, Holly over here is trying to get in the good graces of Lana, and that she says they're friends and everything. So Lana's like, Holly, if you're my friend, you'll wrestle and beat Session, and if you win, we could come besties, essentially. And as soon as she said that, I was like, ooh, girl, this is the end for you. And sure enough, she tried her hardest. She tried her little heart out. But unfortunately, Session Moth would beat her in a matter of 7 minutes. And I'm like, well, there goes that. So Lana Austin was able to get away with facing Session Moth, but when we preview 100 Volts, she has nowhere to escape because Miss Alexis Falcon ain't gonna let that slide. So I mean, this was one of the parts where, upon second watch through, I was like, okay, I'm not as mad as I was originally. I was like, why are we wasting my time? But you know what? Not every character in Progress, whether it's the men's or women's division, has to be like, we're going to wrestle and throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Sometimes we need just some characters be like, well, for all intents and purposes, we need chicken shit heels essentially. Like we need heels in wrestling, or we're like, I'm gonna try everything I can, but fight you, so we're good. So I wasn't as mad at this, especially since it seems that Holly is probably going to have some sway coming up at 100 volts because she was not having it with Lana at the end of this. By the end of this, so. All right, but Andrew, I got to turn it over to you. What did you? So, two questions. What did you think of the match, and then what did you think of Lana Austin shenanigans?
This match was a classic, like lackey taking the fall for their idol. The person that they're kind of trying to follow around. If it follows the formula, obviously we're going to get to a point where it's going to be Lana versus Holly in some capacity. So I wasn't as mad with it because when it happened, we kind of knew what was gonna happen. I am glad that we're getting a storyline build here. Like, obviously, we know that this is going somewhere, or it should. That we're obviously going to build with the Lana Austin and Holly Barlow, story that's going on with the two of them, and Lana trying to take advantage of Holly. So it'll be interesting to see where we build from that. It's nice to have a story, especially because we. In Progress, there's only one women's title, so we're getting another women's story, especially with Kanji kind of being folded into the title picture, which we'll talk about later. So it's nice to have this other story going on. That aside, the match wasn't much to see. It was a lot more storytelling than it was in-ring action. But I will say, from the few matches that I've seen of Holly Barlow, I really like what I'm seeing, because I get the idea that the performer is a much better wrestler than the character. She seems really interesting, and I want to see more from her once she kind of turns it up, or Lana turns on her or whatever, because I feel like we get to see a lot of her doing something and then getting distracted because she's trying to impress Lana. And I think there's more to see from her, so I'm interested to see what we get from that. This was definitely, and I don't want to say it was like a lull or a downer from the other matches, but it definitely was kind of a breather from those matches, because it was just like ramping it up, and so I was kind of, I felt like some of the momentum got lost, but then it picked up a little bit with the promo that came after this, and then the main event. It brought everything right back. So I could see this as being placed somewhere else, where it wouldn't have felt as much of a oh, okay, we're going to slow down here a little bit. Okay, now let's go back again. But like I said, storytelling, great. Want to see more of it. Look forward to see what we're going to get from that. Appreciate all of these performers. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So we will see what is going to go down with Lana and Holly, and especially Alexis Falcon come 100 volts, which, we'll talk about that as we preview it, chapter 183 at the end of this. But I was very happy because we rarely get these promo-esque type segments, at least so far from what we've been watching in Progress this year. So we get a face-to-face, and according to commentary and the internet, the last time we had a face-to-face in Progress, things got crazy. This one was a little bit tame, but we get the face-to-face. We have Luke Jacobs coming out to face his new challenger, man like Darius. Darius has earned a shot at the Progress World Championship by winning the Super Strong Style 16 tournament back in May. And there's a lot of history between these two. Of course, there's history between man like Darius and Luke Jacobs' protege, Ethan Allen, as well. But I didn't know that Doris, this is going to be the 5th time, I think they said. The 5th or, oh my gosh, the 7th time.
No,
that
6th.
Man, 6th, sorry. The 6th time that these two are going to encounter. And Doris, is Doris finally going to get it? Is he finally going to beat Luke and become champion? I'm excited about this.
You know,
one thing I did,
second, third time's the charm.
Yes, I mean, anything. I will say the one thing that I did find interesting, though, is because what started this off is that we had Luke and Ethan Allen. Ethan gets a chair and sits in the corner to watch it like he's about to watch a verbal smackdown. Doris comes out. There's a little bit of back and forth. Luke tells Ethan he needs to go. Ethan is like jokingly be like, "Oh, that's funny, mate." And then Luke's like, "Get the flip out of here." And Ethan was not too pleased with that. So I'm like, it might just be a one-up, but like, do I sense some tension? Because again, with the stipulation that we're getting at 100 volts for this match, anything goes, no disqualifications, about to be buck freaking wild. But Ethan leaves. We get the history between Luke and Doris. Doris says he's going to cash it in at 100 volts. Luke says because of our history, we need to amp it up. So the Progress World Championship match at 100 volts between Doris and Luke is going to be a TLC match. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it's crazy to me they're just casually dropping this. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, how'd that work in the Electric Ballroom, y'all? Like, be like, oh, I am excited. Like that. Like, I'm underplaying it, but holy crap, Andrew, a TLC match in progress. This is about to be wild.
Yeah, I was super excited when they announced that. That's going to be crazy. Obviously, main event.
I mean, it has to main event. I mean, well, honestly, this has to be main eventing.
Yeah, with that stipulation.
Oh, man, this is going to be a crazy fight, and I'm super excited.
I will say I appreciate what they did with this face-to-face, because face-to-face contract signing, whatever you want to call them,
somebody always goes to the table.
Yeah, it always ends up the same way. But I will say what I really appreciated about this, especially because we just had the two of them for the bulk of this face-off, facing against each other, is we got some backstory from not only like about each of them, but we also got backstory about them against each other and in the company. We got to hear from both sides. So it was like, Luke Jacobs is basically the heel of this, and Man Like Doris is the face. But we got this kind of story of like, they're both two young, hungry guys who have been working so hard, in their home country, in Europe, internationally, in professional wrestling to get to where they are. And so I like that we got to see this. And then, of course, Ethan Allen came back. There was the attack and all that stuff. But I like that there was more meat to this promo than just Doris came down. They talked a little bit and then they just jumped in. And so I like that there was that. I like that there was a bit more fight in that attack at the end. So I appreciate what this was, and that they did it in a more interesting way. Still ended the same way they always do, but that's how it goes.
Right. So like you said, Luke and Ethan beat up on Doris afterwards, but Doris is able to walk away. 4 weeks and counting. 4 weeks and counting. Oof, I'm so excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. So let's get into it, though, because this is our final thing to talk about. This is our main event for Stay Humble, the Progress Women's World Championship. This is a triple threat match. So originally, it was going to be Rio versus Rain. I always get her last name messed up. I swear. Yeah. What Andrew said. So it was originally going to be Rio and Rain, but because Nina Samuels versus Kanji, loser leaves Progress, has to be postponed because Nina is injured. Rio's like, hey girl, let's make this a triple threat. Like, I respect the heck out of you. You have also put the Progress Women's Division on the map, so come join me for this triple. Let's make this a triple threat. And triple threat it was. this was my favorite match of the entire night.
Yes.
So let's start off with the obvious. So we both of us already knew that Rio and Kanji were gonna go ham. Like we already knew. Rain, girl, I did not know this was up your alley too, because she did not make it easy for either one of these two either. She was buck wilding as well. I was like, and I'm super happy this was an opportunity for us to see more of Rain, because we've seen her a little bit this year in Progress, mostly in multi-person scrambles or for a short period of time. But man, this was such a fun main event. This was also very hard hitting, especially when we got Rio and Kanji just throwing stiff shots everywhere. Rain jumping off every ring post that you possibly can as well. The finish was brilliant. Again, normally I hate draw. Well, I mean, technically it's not even a disqualification. This was a draw because both Kanji and Rio had Rain pinned, which then sets up the promo and what we're getting at 100 volts for that. So we could talk about that now. But Andrew, I want your thoughts about the triple threat match itself. What did you think of our Progress women's triple threat for the main event to Stay Humble?
You know, I just spent the last 3 days watching GCW in Japan, and there were some really fun matches there.
Oh, 100%. I had a blast.
I think that this match over the last 4 days was my favorite match of the last 4 days that I watched.
Ooh, really? Love that.
It was so good, and I think part of the big reason why it was so good is Rain looked so good in there against two kind of vet top stars in Rio and Kanji. You know, I looked it up, and Rain's only been wrestling since 2021.
Wow.
I think Kanji's been wrestling twice as long as her, and Rio's been wrestling a couple years longer than Kanji. So both of these people have been wrestling twice as long as she has. You know, they're both have been at the top, you know, here in Progress and are pretty well known. And Rain is she has impressed me every time that I've seen her. I've only seen her a couple times now, but you know, I love the character work she does. Her tribute when she came into Ozzy Osbourne and when she made her entrance biting off the bat head. And she looked so good against them. Like, she could have been, she was up there with them. Like, and I get that she was also partially in there to take this pin and it's setting stuff up, but she earned it. She needs to be more in there. I want to see more from Rain. You know, I want to see her popping up in places. It was funny though. There was a part of me at one point that I was like, I really like her. I really hope she doesn't get picked up by the big Fed, because no way are they going to let her keep that last name. And I love that the European leagues are like, no, we're in Europe. We have names like this. We're going to keep them.
Stop Americanizing these names.
Yeah. So, you know, first of all, that was great. I think Kanji looked super vicious, and it wasn't that she looked like a heel or anything. She just looked like she meant business. Like,
right. And to kind of add to that too, before you continue as well, because Kanji has been my girl forever. I mean, this is the Kanji that I saw during the whole Jenny and the whole Jenny feud with Kanji, as well as throwing in Giselle Shaw too. Those three went to war with each other during pandemic, and I'm like, there's my girl. Yeah. There's the one that is so gonna punch you in the face and love you after. Like,
yeah, this was
so strong.
This was, I think, the best showing I've seen from Kanji since she's come back. And so then you had Rio, who was in there, and I honestly loved the fact that Rio took a lot of the beating in this match, because not only did it give time for the other two to shine in this, which I think is really important in a championship match. You want to see that the title contenders are title contenders. Like, we want to see why they're challenging for this title. But it also gave Rio the chance to come back and show that she's a beast too, that she can take this damage and she's not going to quit. And so I thought they all just really shined in this. I was super excited. It brought stock up for all three of them for me. I want to see more matches between any of them, and I love the fact, I like this again. I said it before with the other matches. I don't mind this kind of no finish, because I love that it's set up. We're getting Rio versus Kanji. I can't wait to see that because that match is going to be so good. But I also want to see Rain. Like, let's see Rain back in there wrestling some other people too, because I want to see her just like wrecking people. Love her style, love her in-ring work. Super entertaining. Mad props to all three of these performers. Like I said, this was my match of the night, and it wasn't the weekend, but my week of wrestling. This was my match of the events that I watched this week. So
I will say I've had such a blast this weekend too, and I agree with you. I think this is, well, okay. Internationally, this is probably my favorite match so far this week. I have to see how this Friday CMLL goes, especially, a certain Maxwell Jacob Freeman coming in this Friday for CMLL. But I think internationally, this is probably my favorite. And I know this is such a cop-out, but man, that Javon Evans Wesley match from Tuesday was buck wild. And the fact that it was on my television screen and not a pay-per-view was wild. I was like, these boys are giving me pay-per-view worthy match on my television screen. Shawn Michaels, fix this right now. But damn, man. But I love this. So I mentioned this while we were kind of setting it up, this match, that this ends in a double pin draw because both Kanji and Rio both have Rain pinned. Kanji believes she wins. Rio believes she has it won. The refs, get together. They talk about it. Jerry announces that it's a draw. And Kanji and Rio kind of have a bit of a tiff afterwards with each other, where Kanji feels like she got screwed out of winning. Rio, I love Rio getting in her face, be like, did you see I was like, where my shoulders pinned? Where my shoulders pinned? I was just like, and the internet, she's like, Rio gets on the mic and she, you know what? Right. She has a crash out, but rightfully so. She's like, I'm tired of the disrespect. I'm like, I've been putting this women's division on the map. I've been carrying it to all through the UK, all through Germany, all through the other countries. And I'm tired of all the women not showing respect for me and carrying this division on my back. And she kept telling Kanji, did you see my shoulders pinned on the map? Let the social media team post it later to show that it was not on the mat. You did not pin me, but we can't. But Rio's like, we can't leave this to chance, and I'm not going to leave it as Chance's champion. So 100 volts, me, you, mano y mano for the Progress Women's World Champion. And I was just like, sold. Here we go. Round 2 at 100 volts. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Just those two matches that they announced on this card for 100 volts were enough that I was already excited for 100 volts.
I'm so excited. This is going to be so good. But Rio and Kanji accepts, and Rio and Kanji are just mean mugging each other as Stay Humble goes off the air. This was a really fun show, and this was such a fun way to build up to 100 volts. So chapter 182 comes to a close here. But let's talk about chapter 183, because we are 4 weeks out from 100 volts, which is the historic 100th show in the Electric Ballroom. So we're going to talk about that, and then we also going to talk about some announcements that got made during the show too. 100 volts is already stacked up. We have not one, but we have 5 matches. Well, technically 4, and then we probably have an additional 5. We already have a bunch of matches made. So let's start with some of the non-title. Well, there's only one non-title match so far, and that is, of course, Lana Austin versus Alexis Falcon. So those two are going to hopefully finally come to blows at 100 volts. But let's talk about these 4 championship matches. So while it has not been officially finalized with the participants, we know that Paul Walter Hauser is going to be defending that Proteus championship at 100 volts. And my guess is it's going to be fatal 4-way between Paul, Crowley, Simon, Miller, and of course Bullet. I think is going to be a part of that too in some capacity. So already sold me on that. But then during the show, we get an announcement that we're getting a round 2 for the tag team championships, Lycos Gym versus Sunshine Machine. I'm so ready for that match too. I'm so excited. I mean, of course, I love Lycos Gym, but I've become such a big Sunshine Machine fan this year too, so I cannot wait. But now, let's talk about this. So we already said a lot about it, but Kanji versus Rio. I'm so ready for this. But then, of course, what I'm hoping is main eventing, and I think should main event, the TLC match for the Progress Men's Championship, Luke Jacobs versus Man Like Dries. 100 Volts is shaping up. I really hope they execute everything amazingly, because honestly, I want 100 Volts to be in my contention for my favorite show this year.
It looks like they're going to stack it with their championships and probably a couple other matches. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get something with Charlie Sterling or something with Cara Noir. I feel like we're probably going to see Mike D there. So I think they should stack up, put all their titles there, get a couple other matches in there, bring in some fun names, and it should be pretty exciting.
Right. And we still have other matches they might make too. So if it doesn't, like, of course, because of situation, we still are waiting for Will Cruz versus Gene Money, which was supposed to happen at Stay Humble, but we might be getting it later because Cruz is killing it in Noah right now. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, 100 Volts is shaping up to be crazy. And then they decided to double down on the crazy too, because then they gave us Chapter 184, Camden Lockup. And it's like, oh, cool, we have our September event. Wait, why does that date look familiar? And then, of course, I had to look at my calendar. I'm like, oh, my God, we're getting a double dose of wrestling that day in the UK, because it's going to be Camden Lockup followed by GCW's Josh Barnett's Bloodsport London. I'm like, I smell watch-alongs. I'm just kidding. I don't know, man. We'll figure something out. I was just like, GCW. Also, the day before, too, as announced earlier this week, we're getting the UK version of Effie's Big Gay Brunch. So I'm just like, the UK is about to go be on and popping last week of September.
Well, and we could see both members of Boisterous Behavior pick up some titles and just within a couple months of each other. So,
speaking of Leon Slater, he's about to be popping up in some GCW shows in September, which makes me excited. We'll talk afterwards, but yeah, Stay Humble was a lot of fun, and it was such a fun way to set up 100 Volts. I cannot wait. I know it's 4 weeks away, and so we still got to wait through it, but I'm anticipating 100 Volts. I'm so excited. That's going to be a lot of wrestling that weekend, because, I mean, thank goodness we're reviewing it on Thursday, but there's 100 Volts. That weekend is just jam-packed because we got Homecoming for GCW. We have Forbidden Door happening that weekend as well. Heat Wave for NXT, which I know I was just like, stop putting your pay-per-views against AEW, but it is what it is. And I'm excited. I'm on the train that I'm hoping Javon dethrones Oba at Heat Wave. We'll see what happens with all of that. But that's going to be it for us here at the Progressive Review. Andrew and I will be back at the end of, August to review 100 Volts. And then we lead through September and October, and eventually all roads lead to Vendetta 3, which I'm so excited for too, because I got some glimpses of Vendetta 2, and I was just like, oh my God, this is about to be crazy. I'm excited, because from what I understand, Vendetta is like the big end-all show for Progress, and I'm like, I mean, it's called Vendetta, duh. But Andrew and I got to get up on out of here, but fear not, because we have a jam-packed weekend starting tomorrow. As you saw in our commercial earlier at the beginning of the show, tomorrow evening, Andrew, Adolfo, and our newest BC WrestlePod family member, Benny, will be doing a live watch-along for GCW's Hit 'Em Up. I'm excited. I'm so sad I don't get to watch it with you. Oh,
Slacker.
I know. I was just like, I'm at the behest of my family, so I can't. But I am excited, though, to be here for Saturday morning for GCW's Bloodsport. They announced so many matches, and I'm just like, oh my God, this card looks so good. I mean, like we got the likes of like Jonathan Gresham, Natty versus Masha is gonna be great. Dominic Garrini,
Jonathan Gresham versus Pete Dunne.
Yeah, that match is gonna be like okay. Let me just read you these matches though, because they announced a lot like within the hour too. I was just like, oh boy. So I just want to run through these matches. So Natty versus Masha, Janai Kai versus Jordan Blade's gonna be crazy too. I love Janai so much. As you said, Pete Dunne versus Jonathan Gresham, Timmy Turner, Timothy Thatcher versus Slade. Oh my god, that's gonna be crazy. Making his GCW Bloodsport debut, Nick Camarado versus Simon Gotch. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Charlie Dempsey versus Dominic Garrini. Matt Mako versus Ray Jazz. So those are two newer ones for me, but I can't wait for that. And then we learned like yesterday that WWE's, the War Raiders will also be there. I'm like, my boys! I'm so ready for that. Listen, I know their presentation in the Fed right now is not necessarily the greatest, but y'all need to remember they also came through Progress as well. So
I saw someone was wondering about how, what they're going to do, who they're going to face and all that stuff, and brought up the possibility of them facing each other.
So ready.
Oh, that would be a good one. I'd like to see that. That could be a fun match. But yeah.
I mean, it's always fun. We got to see Violence is Forever fight each other, and that was a lot of fun too. So I'm pretty sure we're also going to get some surprises. I cannot wait.
I mean,
but
Josh
that's
going to fight somebody. So
listen, I need it. I need a Murder Grandpa, MMA, Magic the Gathering, Josh Barnett. Like I love Josh. I was like, he's a nerd, and I will forever love him.
And bring back Karrion Kross. I need to see more Karrion Kross in Bloodsport. That was awesome.
Well, I mean, he has a PLE match, so I was just like, we'll see what happens with all of that. But yeah, this weekend's gonna be crazy, and like we're talking about Karrion and the War Raiders and all of that, because later that on Saturday afternoon is our night 1 of SummerSlam watch along. Sunday is night 2 SummerSlam. Monday is the review for SummerSlam. So it's gonna be a jam-packed weekend of the Fed and GCW as well. Also, I saw people that they're bringing to Homecoming Los Angeles in September. Now I need to go, especially because Bear Bronson's going to be there.
You got to run for us, Mikey.
I got to, and I might not be going alone. When I was gone at the camp for the past week, like I may have found some people who are willing to go, but we'll see. I'm going for sure. Hopefully I won't go alone. But that's going to be it for us here at the Progressive Review. Stay tuned this weekend for our jam-packed, crazy, fun-filled time. Make sure to tune in tomorrow and stop by to support the boys as they will be holding it down for Hit 'Em Up. And then I will be joining them on Saturday. Yeah, my weekend is completely crazy, but I'm so excited. But thank you so much for tuning in. We got to get up on out of here because me and Andrew got to talk some business about some certain stuff. So from all of us here at the Progressive, as well as the rest of the BC Wrestle Pod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you tomorrow for the watch along for GCW Hit 'Em Up. But until then, this is Mikey El Jefe of BC Wrestle Pod signing out for the evening. So until tomorrow, this is adios, sayonara, and peace.